Just as we thought coronavirus is on the verge of disappearance and we almost started living our lives normally back again, thinking the virus is no more a threat to us. We have unfortunately started hearing about this new variant of coronavirus these days. Again. Yes, it's the Omicron. So, why is it different from another variant? Is it more deadly than the previous variant? Why did WHO call it the variant of concern or the VOC? We'll be answering you these questions, so do watch the video till the end. We don't want you to miss out any single fact within this video. Coronaviruses are very important human and animal pathogens and are named so because of their spikes present on the surface, which gives the virus a crown-like appearance. And we know that the coronavirus is not new to the world. You might have heard about the outbreaks of the SARS, or severe acute respiratory syndrome, in China itself around 2002, MERS, or the Middle East respiratory syndrome, which too were caused by other coronaviruses. And what's new is this, the novel coronavirus. This new coronavirus that had emerged 2 years back, the cases all started with rising case of pneumonia in the city of Hubei, in a place called Wuhan in China. And in a few years of time, it spread all over the world in such a way that it turned out to be a pandemic. Now you might be thinking it should all have ended just with the SARS or the MERS outbreak, but rather the same disease kept emerging, just with different names. So, how and why do new variants keep coming over and over again? It's all about mutation. Mutation is a continuous, inevitable process, and smaller is the organism, more they are prone to mutate. They could be useful or harmful mutations, and only those mutated strains that favor the survival of the organism in the environment will thrive and continue to exist, while those useless mutated strains will extinct. Nature always selects the best, right? That's what we learned in natural selection. Human beings, being the most superior creatures too, keep changing with the time and environment and the needs, right? So these mutations too occur mostly due to stress of the environment, and the organisms mutate constantly to survive and cope up with that harsh environment. And these mutations make the new resultant organism more resilient and stronger than the previous forms. The World Health Organization, or WHO, has already sent a message to every nation to enhance the surveillance regarding the emergence and outbreak of new variants of coronavirus, and to submit a complete genome of the virus wherever reported. So how are these variants designated? I'm talking about these coronavirus variants, which has different names that we keep hearing just as the time passes by, right? Firstly, WHO classifies new variants as VUM, or variant under monitoring, VOI, or the variant of interest, and VOC, which means variant of concern. So whenever a variant is discovered, they are given a scientific name which represents their parentage and the chain of evolution. The scientific name of this new variant that has been recently heard by everyone is B11529, which was discovered from South Africa on November 26, 2021. It's pretty confusing and hard to remember the name, right? Just like the Elon Musk son name. It was confusing even for him, that's why he later changed his name. Similarly, WHO did the same. They tried to name these variants according to the country origin, and you might have heard these common names such as UK variant, Indian variant, South African variant, Brazilian variant, and others. But naming this way according to the country of origin created so many critics, and it was more like calling the name for the blame, which created many hatreds to that particular country. So at the end, they chose these Greek letters, and the Indian variant got the Delta, while the UK variant was later called as the Alpha variant of coronavirus. And there are currently 5 VOC, or the variant of concern, which are Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta, and Omicron. Similarly, there are two variants of interest or VOI, which are lambda and mu. And same way, there are few other variants like kappa, eta, iota, which was previously called as VOI. Now they have been removed as their circulation and spread is reported to be very minimal. So scientists used a bit easier nomenclature for these new variants and they chose using Greek alphabet. Being the 13th variant, it was not the Omicron that should have been assigned to this new variant. But why did they choose this name? This question must have been struck in many of your heads. Why is it called the Omicron? As I already told, WHO has adopted naming the variants by using a Greek alphabet name. And by far, they have already used 12 letters of the Greek alphabet, and this new variant was meant to be used either Nu or Z for the name. But this time, unusual to the trend, the WHO skipped two alphabets. Yes, they skipped these alphabets Z and Nu. They said that Nu might be confused by the people thinking it as a completely new virus, and Z being common surname of many people. WHO has this practice of avoiding names that cause offense to any cultural, social or national groups. So if there will be a future variant, it might be named as Pi, then Rho, then Sigma, and so on subsequently. Stay with me. I'm also going to explain about the spike proteins. Yes, which makes the coronavirus look like a crown and the most common part of a virus to undergo mutation. Now let's talk briefly about how the Omicron variant came into existence. The first specimen of this variant, B11529, now very well known as the Omicron variant of SARS-CoV, was collected on 9th of November 2021 and it was first reported to WHO from South Africa on 24th November 2021. The Technical Advisory Group on SARS-CoV virus evolution, also called as TAG-VE, is an independent group of experts and its main function is to periodically evaluate and monitor the evolution of new variants of coronavirus by assessing the mutations occurring in the virus. So the TAG VE was assembled on 26 November 2021 to assess the Omicron variant, and this was the day when WHO designated this variant's name as Omicron on the advice of TAG VE itself. So remember, the variant was named as Omicron just 2 days after it was reported to WHO. Along with the naming of the variant, the TAG VE has also advised WHO that this variant should be designated as the variant of concern since the origin of this variant is thought to be a harmful change in COVID epidemiology. Now let's talk briefly about the role of spike protein. Yes, the spike proteins that makes the coronavirus so dangerous. So basically there is this concept of lock and key. Yes, the lock and key mechanism, which you might have heard in your receptors chapter 2 earlier. Here, the spikes present on the surface of the virus act as a key and the host cell acts as a lock. And this mediates the attachment of the virus with the host cells and hence the infectivity of the coronavirus to the human host cell leading to various symptoms. Now, once a person gets infected by the virus, he starts producing antibodies against the spike protein on the virus that act as the antigen, which will eventually destroy the virus. And if the same person encounters the virus again the next time, the antibodies that had been previously formed in his body act against the virus and destroys the virus. And this mechanism is exactly how COVID vaccines work. COVID vaccines consist of a weakened virus particle that is capable of eliciting the immunological response or the antibody production, but it's incapable to cause the disease manifestation. Okay, so we have those antibodies that provide us the protection, right? But at the same time, the same antibodies now will not work if there are some mutations in the spike protein of the coronavirus. And this is exactly why every new variant that comes into existence is dangerous. Simply understanding, the antibodies produced act against one type of spike protein, and whenever there are changes in the spike protein due to mutations, the antibodies preformed fails to act. So, as I had mentioned earlier, that it's the mutations that change the character of the coronavirus, giving birth to different variants. Similarly, there has been a total of 43 mutations in the coronavirus, and most of the mutations, let's say more than 30 out of the total, were noticed in the change of spike protein. How transmissible is this Omicron variant? The rapid rise of cases in various countries clearly gives us the evidence that this variant has more transmissibility. So, at the end, we want you to learn this message that it's high time for us to implicate what we learned in previous pandemic. This is the time for us to fight back against this new variant. And this can only be done by following every safety protocols and necessary precautions. Yes, using masks, proper hygiene, and maintaining social distance. Let's break the chain. Made it for you.